something I like to use a lot is the ABC method. So, but that's really kind of dissecting your behaviors in different situations. So if you've come across a really big challenge and you've had a bit of a tricky interaction with someone, or there's been kind of something major going on in your work life, you can do this after the event. You can look back at it with this ABC lens. And the idea is you're breaking down, A is the activating event, so the thing that happened. B is your behavior, and then C is the consequence. So imagine you've had a really challenging conversation with a colleague, and sometimes I'll have conversations with people, they'll say things like, oh, that person made me really angry, or that person made me react like that. Or imagine like you're driving in the car and someone pulls in front of you and it feels dangerous and you shout out or you toot the horn or whatever you do. It's very easy to think to ourselves, that person has made you kind of do that thing. But in reality, that's not necessarily the case, because there's this belief part in the middle. So it's activated event, belief, consequence. There's this belief part in the middle, which will then drive your behavior, the consequence. So you might think someone pulling in front of you in the car, that's really dangerous. They shouldn't be doing that. I would never drive like that. It's really inconsiderate. And that can make you quite angry. Or you might have a belief and think they're probably having a bad day, or who knows what's going on. They could be, sometimes I think this in the car, like they could be rushing to get to a hospital, for example, or there could be some kind of.
I pulled in short before. Oops, it happens to the best of us. That's another.
I have to remind myself, I'm like, no one is a perfect driver all the time, myself included. And think about a conversation at work that you have a really horrible interaction with someone, it hasn't gone well. And maybe their attitude wasn't great. Maybe they didn't deliver what they were supposed to deliver, but you'll have a belief about that. So things like they're always behaving like that, or they're not respecting my role in this, or they're not understanding that I need to deliver my part and they're holding me up. And that will shape how we then behave, which is the consequence, which we might then go back and be angry or shout or not find a way to kind of move forward. So this kind of dissecting, looking back, can be really helpful, because you're taking the sting out of it, the emotion out of it as well. So the best way to think about it. So when you're separating out, so you've got your activating event, then think about, okay, what did I believe about that event? Okay. And that can take some reflection. Okay. It's not easy. Like being self-aware it's not necessarily a pleasant experience. It's not necessarily like an easy ride. Which is why so many of us avoid it sometimes. I'm not self-aware all the time because sometimes I don't want to know. I don't want to see the other person's point of view, because it's shining a light up to my weaknesses or the things that I'm not so great at, or the ways that I shouldn't have reacted, or so it can be quite a challenging experience. However, it's really necessary if we want to build really strong relationships and we want to develop. So that's something that I would recommend doing quite frequently, particularly if you've had a challenging interaction with someone. It could be in your personal life, it could be in your work life. And then you can actually even take this a step further and add in a D and an E, so after your ABC.
So, more letters.
More letters, I know. And the D is like disrupting. So how could you disrupt that thinking? So instead of thinking, that person's really rude, or they're not respecting what I need to deliver, or they always do this, how can you think something different? You might think, okay, maybe they don't know that I need to deliver something off the back of this. Like, have I actually told them that? Have I actually said I need that information because my client needs it, or I'm getting pressure this end for it? Maybe they don't know that they're such a crucial part of what you're trying to do. Maybe they do, but maybe they don't. Maybe there's something going on in their world which we're not aware of, or because we've all got our own lives going on as well. Or think about the car situation. All the things we were saying about not everyone drives perfectly, or maybe they're trying to get to hospital, but it's how could you change that thought in the future? And then the E effect. So what would the outcome? Then you've got to test it and see what the outcome would be from that situation. But I like this idea of reflecting, and another reason I quite like this is because in this situation, it forces us to reflect on the parts that we played in the situation, because it is so easy to think about all the things other people need to do to reach a better outcome or to help us get to what we need or help us move forward. But actually, a lot of the time, there's probably more accountability that we can be taking.
Oh, yes, yes.